Hey, this is Matt once again with the Best Time of the Videos, another paid request. This time for Vonte. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics or comparisons like this or video game playthroughs or reviews or commentaries, what have you, PayPal's usually the best bet. I also have a Patreon. I also have Cash App for those interested. Just let me know. And most of those links are down below in the info box under most of these videos. But he wanted me to do a comparison between these three Night of the Living Dead versions: 1968, 1990, and the 3D one. And I had to refresh myself on the 3D one because I didn't remember a damn thing about it. Well, I could easily say that my favorite is the 1991. I know someone got butthurt and saying, anyone who likes the 1990 Night of the Living Dead more than the 68 don't know shit about movies. Number one, it's called an opinion. And number two, yes, I do like the 1991 the best for a variety of reasons. Now, the 1968 one, I respect what George Romero was doing. I respect what he accomplished back in the day, in the early days. I respect that it's the first Living Dead type of zombie movie that created a whole subgenre that sadly George Romero never got. He might have gotten credit, but he never got the finances he deserved because of the screw up of copyright. And that guy should have been a rich guy. I mean, just count how many zombie films have been made, and it's because of his movie and that inspiration. And I'm not saying the guy was poor, but he was never. I don't think he was ever a millionaire or anything. And that's a shame. It's a shame. So I can respect he did. I can appreciate the black and white photography that give a bit more of a mood. I like the guy who plays Ben. I like that actor. But yes, I do like out the 3D is the worst one. I'll get to that later. But if I'm comparing 1968 to 1990, the reason I like the 1990 more, number one, I like the acting of the whole ensemble better. Barbara, Patricia Tallman, I immensely enjoyed more than the Barbara in the original. No disrespect to her. I get what they're trying to do. There are people that get scared and they get shock, such a shocked state of shock that they can't move, they can't speak, they can't do anything. I can understand that, but on the flip side, I am watching a movie. I'm still watching a piece of entertainment and escapism, and I just found the Barber in the original so fucking annoying, irritating, and just get the fuck up. You know, you want to be Leslie Nielsen in an airplane. You just, and then you want the whole like the scene in an airplane where Leslie Nielsen, and then everybody's like behind. You got the one guy with the boxing gloves in an airplane. You want to be that with Barbara. Just calm down, you know. It's just that at the beginning, like that's all she is. Even when they take her, I did what they're doing. I did it. I doesn't mean I have to like it or give a shit about it. And she just annoys the piss out of me. Patricia Tallman, yes, I find her tougher. I find her smarter. I find her more engaging. I like her performance better. I thought she gave a better performance. She was given more to do, more to say. I love the line she says in the 1990 movie. We could just walk past them. Look, we just walk past them. What she's got the right. She's right. If you know what you're doing, you could just walk past them. She's right. She's correct on that. And she's able to kick ass and shoot guns and take names. She did a great job. She did a great job in that. Had a little bit of Ellen Ripley in her. Yet again, there's never been any strong women. Patricia Tallman is Barbara. Immensely better to me than the original. I like the guy who plays Ben in the original, but Tony Todd is Tony Todd. And Tony Todd he's a great actor, not just for Candyman, but for many other movies. And he did a great job. He was very likable, and he was very easy to root for as Ben. Uh, the guy who plays Harry in the original, I didn't mind, but I do like Tom Tolles. Maybe because I remember him from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer and other movies. I thought he did a good job. You know, the other actors I thought did fine as well. So I like the cast more and the acting more. I like the Barbara character a lot more. She's not useless, tripping over 85 things, being frozen in terror for the entire film, even while she's dying. Tony Todd is the man, and you got Tony Todd in the 1990 movie. Also, I understand the movie, 1968's movie, the time it took place, the filmmaking was very different than it is today. But I didn't grow up in 1968. I didn't grow up in 1970. I mean, hell, my favorite zombie film is Dawn of the Dead, 1978's film. So it's not that, well, I just don't like because it's old. Again, Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite films ever, and it's my favorite zombie film. Like, if it's like Dawn of the Dead at 1978, I would say I like more than the 1999 Living Dead. Or any of Night of the Living Dead's. But the way of that style of the music and the blaring big, over the top music, and the way people act and the way it's antiquated. I understand it for its time. There are movies back in the day I enjoy that are antiquated, whether it be Dracula, The Thing from Another World, Frankenstein. I like them. Are they in my top 50 favorite films of all time? No, but I like them and I respect that era. It's interesting as a window through time to see that. But preference wise, I do prefer a more modern, like even 1978 still felt more modern to me compared to the original. And it just, that type of technique and that type of filming and that type of music, I just prefer the more, when I say modern, I mean like 90s, even 70s, like 70s to 90s, I prefer more of that than 50s, 60s, 40s stuff. And the ending, like the ending I much prefer. I get the idea of the ending of the original. Racism, they shot a guy who was black without even thinking twice. I get it. I get it. My message. I get it. I just, as a movie, as an ending to the movie, I find the ending to the 1990 film more interesting in terms of the characters, in terms of Patricia Tallman getting back there and her realization that Tony Todd has been turned, and the look on her face, and the sadness as an audience of, oh man, rooted for Tony Todd. And then when she sees Tom Tolles and he's okay, he's like, oh, you came back. And the look on her face, and just poof, another one for the fire. So the way, Patricia Tallman and how her character reacts to the situation, how Harry and him get his comeuppance because of his dirtbag ways, and that much more fitting for that character to get it in that way. Like he was one of the last to survive, but tough titty. And the way that one of our main characters is seeing how these guys are acting and reacting, I thought it just worked better in terms of the characters. The way the characters, I don't know, just the original felt more of a message. Here it felt more in terms of the characters, and I just much preferred that. It being color and having a little bit more gore, still selling not as much as Day of the Dead, but a little bit more gore compared to the original, because you got Tom Savini directing. That was nice to see as well. And some of the improved makeup effects, because it's 1990, you got Tom Savini directing. So yeah, if you're asking me which I would rather watch, 1999 Live Dead any day. Because the original I just found boring. I did. I found it boring. I found it slow. I found it tedious. I fell asleep after respect was doing. But if I want George Romero, I'll just go watch Dawn of the Dead or Day of the Dead or Monty Shines or Creep Show. If I want, Night of the Living Dead, I'll watch the 1990 movie. Just to me, it just the look of the film, the act of the film, the way the characters act, and the just everything for me was done better. And of course, that's subjective. I know I didn't talk about the 3D movie because the 3D movie is absolute dog shit and is absolutely the worst. I mean, by summation of Night of the Living Dead 3D, there's barely any gore. It's tame. The beginning of the film, you have Johnny and Barbara. Even though Night of the Living Dead, the movie, exists in that universe, because the movie's playing on a TV and then it pans over, but yet there's still another guy. So Night of the Living Dead exists, but here's a Johnny and Barbara going to a cemetery and there's a zombie. It's a weird thing. Johnny being a whiny bitch. Oh, my family sucks. They go to a funeral that they clearly see there's nobody there, but they still continue to go there. And then Johnny going, maybe we're being punked. So, shit, idiotic characters, whiny characters, terrible dialogue. Changing Ben to a 20-some white guy. Because we can't have any black people in the movie, apparently. Amateur hour acting. Sid Haig, wasted, may he rest in peace. He's in like one scene in the beginning, and then he's among the film in the last 30 minutes. Barely anything that seems like that would have been in 3D. Most people that would have seen that if it would have been in 2D. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Johnny texts it. So apparently in that 3D movie, zombies can text. Coming for you, Barbara. So I didn't know zombies could text, but apparently they can. So goddamn cringe-inducing, man. And then when Barbara gets to the place, it's Henry, not Harry, Henry. It's weird, like Johnny and Ben and Barbara's names are used, but instead of Harry, they call him Henry. And then at the end, you got Johnny and Barbara, but then Ben is a 20-some white guy. And then now Henry, they're a bunch of pot smokers. I guess so that we can have two people fucking in the barn in a wannabe skin and match routine. It's Sid, Ben, and Barbara left by bullshit and not much happening. Really no gore in the movie. And then Sid hates the reason why this all happened, something to do with his father or something. And then he knocked out Ben and put him in a trunk, and then Barbara fucked some stuff up and threw something to start on fire. And Sid Haig gets killed by the zombies. And she goes to see Ben. I guess Ben got impaled in the tire iron. I guess you don't have to get bit in that movie to be a zombie, because he's turned to a zombie, so she has to shoot Ben. And then zombies are coming, and she's just standing there. And the movie ends with the zombie goes, and you hear Barbara go, ah. And then I go, fuck! Fuck you! And the droning music, and fucking awful movie. Like, easily the worst of the three. Easily the worst. Easily the worst. Zombie texting coming for you, Barbara. Now they're again Henry, and then pot smokers and people fucking in a barn. Sid Haig being wasted. No gore, like no, really barely any makeup. amateur hour acting. Fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. Fucking piece of shit. What the hell happened to that Night of the Living Dead 2? Wasn't there... There was a trailer. It was, like Lloyd Cardeal, like Terry Alexander, the three actors from the original Day of the Dead. They were coming back, and they were doing, like, a Night of the Living Dead Part 2 or something? Which you would think, well, why wouldn't it be Day of the Dead sequel? Because it's the three from Day of the Dead, but it's the three in a Night of the Living Dead sequel. I don't know if do people remember that. That was a thing that came out, that trailer. Apparently, maybe someone grew a brain and said, "This is a stupid idea. Get rid of it." So maybe someone's common sense finally entered the equation. First time for everything. So yeah, the 1999 Island Dead, I think it did everything better. I do. I can't think of anything that the original did better. I'm sorry. You don't like classics. I enjoyed the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think that's the best chainsaw film. I think that's a classic. I love the original Jaws. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I love Dawn of the Dead. One of my favorite films of all time. Alien, classic. I like Aliens more, but Alien is a classic to me. Halloween. I do quite enjoy the original Halloween. I enjoy The Birds. I enjoy Rear Window with Hitchcock. I enjoy, I don't know, pick a year. Love Assault on Precinct 13, 70s. The original Time Machine from back in the day. I mentioned Dracula. So it's not because it's old, it's because I think it's boring as shit and not that well acted, except from the guy who plays Ben. And the guy who plays Harry's fine. And just the 1990 movie just more appealing to me. And the Nyland 3, Sid Haig, I hope he got paid well. May he rest in peace. I hope he got paid well for that. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.